welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show in which we watch TEDx talks to learn more about ourselves and the world around us. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday, TEDx Thursday. Yes, the plan from here forward is to make Thursday TEDx Day. I have a set schedule for when to do these to set the expectation for all of you and for myself. A lot of talk of scheduling regarding our channels and such, and Lords of the Night has been happening the last couple of days, and I thought it makes sense to just sort of pick a day, because over the last year of lockdown and pandemic and everything else, it's been kind of willy-nilly doing it as the mood struck, but I think it's time to grow up a little. For now, we'll see what happens, but that's the plan going forward. Hope everyone is having a good day today. I'll get into the story of why I picked this TEDx briefly from now, shortly, something. Anyway, who's here to watch this with me? Willett Forge, hello. Black Belt for Christ, hello. Dr. Keeve, hello. Asian Hippie, hello. Matt Barnes, hello. Lexi Mads, we can finally start, hello. Mr. Tickle Trunk, thank you so much for the happy Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox. Kay Scholl, hello. Dina B, hello. And then chat jump, because of course it is. Tux Mint, hello. Sean Uli, hello. And then jumped again. Stop jumping around, chat. Jeez Louise. Mike Savage, Blarg. Somnambual Nation, hello. Check Your Logic, hello. Legit Low Talker, hello. Zeke Weiss, hello. X4390247, hello. Megan Ring, hello. John Miller, hello. Quinn the Cultist, hello. Brittany Holland, hello. Johnny Hellcat, hello. Cynic, hello. Robert Pincus, hello. Hearse Gravegear, hello. Took me a second for that one. That one, Servant of Satania, hello. Small Man, hello. A Scanner Daphne, hello. Deco, hello. And I think that's everyone. I hope so. If I missed you, hopefully I'll catch you later. Scrappy Pirate, hello. So what is up with today's video? Well, I have no idea. This is one of those mystery box episodes, because it was partially the title, which made no sense to me, or doesn't really tell me anything. It was partially the outfit that our speaker is wearing, because boy, is it snazzy. But primarily it was because of the note placed in the description of the original video by TEDx. And I will read the bulk of that note right now. Note from TED: please do not look to this talk for mental health advice. This talk only represents the speaker's personal views and understanding of trauma and resilience, which lacks legitimate scientific support. We've flagged this talk because it falls outside the content guidelines TED gives TEDx organizers. TEDx events are independently organized by volunteers. Now, I can't say that I haven't seen a note like that before. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've done at least one or two other TED Excellences that had that similar note to it. But in this one in particular, it just struck me as like, wait a second. This falls outside your content guidelines, and yet you're posting it to your YouTube channel. I mean, I could see it still occurring in real space, but if it's not something that you're actually approving of in your guidelines for TEDx, why would you post it? What are the purpose of your guidelines if you're not going to follow them? I don't know the answer to that question, but regardless, I thought it would be interesting to find out what it's all about. So again, and it is not a bad disclaimer, even though we're going to pick it apart as we go, whatever this speaker says, just like with so many other speakers before, it's just their perspective, their experience, their knowledge, and so on. But when we talk about mental health advice, I have to wonder, is this going to get into some touchy areas? I don't know. Like I say, mystery box. So we'll find out together. It'll either be funny or sad or serious or informative or a complete train wreck. Who knows? We'll find out together. As a note, today's bingo card is card C. C as in consternation, I guess. I guess that's a fitting word for today. So get your bingo cards ready. Links to the bingo cards are in the description of this video. We shall proceed. A couple more hellos before we go. Angela Ariaga, hello. Raziel, hello. Simon Wilkins, hello. Resolute Germ, hello. Preemptive Heat, hello. Pink Hollow, the Driving Ape Man, hello. All right, guys. So, per usual, getting to the video here, I'll start off with a few seconds for sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and we will proceed. Okay, well, that was some of the worst canned applause I've ever seen. That's like stadium level applause for what looks like a garage setup. I'm not sure. Did I already do a video that was using this same set? Did I do a Farmingdale one? TEDx has a tendency to post all the videos from a singular event at once, or sometimes half and half, depending on the day. It just looks like a familiar set. Let's see. Sounds good, says Lexi Mad. Sounds good, but my eyes are screaming because of the suit. I know, right? Isn't that suit something? And look at the shoes. The shoes match. This guy planned this outfit. He purchased stuff for this outfit. And the shoes are sneakers, too. So, man, that is a snazzy suit. All right. So, but the title, the suit, the warning. Let's find out what all the hubbub is about.
Just like the moon, like the sun, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. That's a small part of a poem by Maya Angelou.
Okay. Maya Angelou. When he started talking about the moon, I got excited for a second. I thought, oh, he's talking about my home. All right.
The first time I heard that poem was May 11th, 2006.
Wow.
I call it my Phoenix Day.
Okay.
The truth is, I'm a Phoenix.
Well,
that day in 2006, I was going through a divorce.
I am a Phoenix. I mean, depending on the context, that could either be sort of a little self-indulgent, or it could describe a comeback from, a low. It's possible. Thank you, Pecoraro, the Driving Ape Man. Failed Anchorman cosplay. Ooh, I don't know. Like I say, that suit is dazzling, isn't it? All right, so he was going through a divorce. He heard this poem on May 11th, 2006, that particular day. Okay, and he is a Phoenix.
I have 2 girls, 3 and under 1, walking, breathing, hurt.
Walking, breathing, hurt? What?
Everything was a challenge.
Okay.
I attended this conference where Madeline Albright spoke, and she was introduced by Geraldine Ferraro.
Okay.
Some pretty serious speakers.
Geraldine Ferraro and Madeline Albright. Okay, well, Madeline Albright, sure. Geraldine Ferraro, okay.
But it's this poem that has changed my life.
Oh, Asian Hippie rightly points out family anecdote. That's true. The divorce is a family anecdote. So going to the bingo card, free space, and childhood or family anecdote. Okay, so 2 squares on the board. Sorry about that. As you guys know, sometimes I get so invested in what the person's saying, it just kind of like goes past me. Oh yeah, bingo card. All right, so we got 2 on the board. Let's continue.
Now let me be straight.
Okay.
This poem does not mention Phoenix,
mm-hmm.
but it does mention rising.
Uh-huh.
And it was the first time that this poem resonated with me.
Okay.
I kept hearing the word rise. And for me, breathing was a struggle.
Breathing was a struggle. You heard the word rise. Breathing is a struggle. Okay.
Then it hit. I'm sitting here in this conference room, and I needed to find a way to pick myself up and begin the process of rising and resilience. Images of the Phoenix came to my mind.
Well, okay, were you rising from the divorce? I mean, okay, if you're in the depths of depression or something because of your divorce and all that, okay, is that it? Is that... he threw so many things at me at once with Geraldine Ferraro and Madeline Albright, and then he heard this poem, and okay.
Now, all the circumstances around my divorce were out of my control.
Yeah.
How I felt.
Okay.
I needed to learn to breathe again.
Yeah, okay.
My heart hurt, but it beat. Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
I'm sorry. I know he's okay. A divorce is not fun. I'm fairly sure. I have to think about it sort of abstractly. I've never been through one, but boom, 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 boom,
boom, boom. We all have resilience within ourselves. And because no matter what or who you are, you've overcome something. And you didn't believe that you could overcome.
Okay, admittedly. Let's see, just as a sort of for the sake of personal example, when I was much younger now, I think about how old I am now, I had I lacked self-confidence. I was a relatively small kid, glasses, quiet, reserved, didn't have a whole lot of self-confidence. I didn't think it was entirely possible that a girl would ever like me, that kind of thing. And then I went to college, and oh boy, did things change after that. So sure, it's I think it is a common human experience. If you have self-doubt and then you surprise yourself, it is a great feeling. It's true. It is true.
Broken heart.
Yes.
Infidelity. Divorce.
Did you do the infidelity or was it her? Who did that part?
Loss of a loved one. Loss of a job.
Sure.
Being a caregiver.
Okay.
You are not alone.
You are not alone. And that's a list, by the way. Even though I didn't call it a list, I'm circling a list on the card. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people and scribbles. Hello, Kyle. Okay, you're right. Everybody in one way, shape, or form in life has had to face a struggle of some kind. An obstacle, have to overcome something. Some people do, some people do not, depending on the circumstances. But yes, it is a common human experience. All right? Yeah.
This is where we can ground ourselves.
What?
How many of you really know the story of the Phoenix?
I have heard it before. Somewhere in some old mythology class or something. But I do not recall the details right now. So do tell.
This glorious bird,
yes,
both in sight, sound, and its ability to fly great heights.
Okay.
It's so interesting that in all cultures, there are stories about this bird who rises from the ashes. And
wait, did he say all cultures? Wait, what? Hold on, I'm backing up a little bit.
To fly great heights.
Okay, and there was an edit there. Did you see his body position before that cut and after? Now that's not me. Just this is a reference. I didn't do anything to the talk. So if something was left out there, I don't know what it was.
And its ability to fly great heights. It's so interesting that in all cultures, there are stories about this bird who rises from the ashes and becomes a new bird.
In all cultures? I mean, I'm sure there are similar sort of stories of resurrection or rebirth or something, but all cultures have a story about the bird rising from the ashes? Really? I press X to doubt on that one, because all seems a bit too much.
It is not reborn to be the same bird, but the ashes of the last bird. Yeah. Resilience is how the phoenix regrows itself. So how do we overcome?
It didn't regrow itself. It birthed a new copy of it. Okay, I'm listening to your story. All right.
The things that we need to overcome. Each of us does it differently.
Yeah.
By digging into your brain, that's how we do it.
What? Digging into my brain to overcome. So a transorbital lobotomy will help me overcome my problems?
Managing situations and choosing to make the changes to find the resources that will get us through the process of growth. As we dig through our past, we can notice how we operate and see the way we do.
I'm getting ready to circle word salad, but okay, I'm going to extend the benefit of the doubt for the moment. Yes, if you are introspective on your past mistakes or even past successes, and you try to take some lesson from that in one way, shape, or form, find the thinnest of silver linings, or find where you made a mistake, or bring yourself slightly humble for the success you may have had and think about how you could do better in the future, even if you succeeded, etc. Sure, if you take the time to do that, conceivably, you'll be wiser for the experience the next time something similar comes along. Conceivably. Of course, it still comes down to choice at that moment, but all the same, you'll be better equipped. Yes, examining our pasts does potentially inform our futures. Yes, exactly. Okay. I'm trying to stay with our speaker. I'm trying to give as much benefit of the doubt here. Really am.
How do we create the patterns, and how are the patterns created in the landscape that we had?
Yeah. Okay.
Some of us operate in a state of fear because of past experiences.
Yes.
Often we get caught up in cycles because of the brain sums up our experiences to make the best decision possible.
I'm circling word salad. I mean, I can kind of tease out in my head what he's trying to say, but it's really not coming across very clearly. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. And suddenly he burst into flames on stage. Oh boy. Well, if he didn't, that sure as hell hot suit would, wouldn't it? Look at that thing. Look at how shiny it is and how green or blue turquoise it is, and the little lapel things there. And I don't know what to say. That just, I feel like that's like, car salesman chic or something.
Just like the phoenix, the rise begins in an instant to form the new bird. Sometimes our memories are like watching a horror movie. Scary with something right around the corner. These movies are even scary if you watch them in the dark. Now imagine turning on the light and watching them in the light.
Okay, well, I'm glad I circled word salad. Thank you again, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Look how pink he is any moment now. I think maybe he tightened his tie a little bit too tight there, but yeah. Your memories are a horror movie. Imagine watching them in the dark. Watching my memories in the dark? What? Are we going, what?
Probably less scary.
Yeah.
Now, the great thing about that is that we can do that. We can remove the triggers that are tied to negative events.
Oh, we can?
Training your brain to release the triggers is possible when they create a new way to operate it.
What?
There are many ways to remove triggers, and doing so could be life-altering.
Okay.
Between the stimulus and the response, there's a magical space.
Okay.
And that's where the decisions are made.
Okay.
And when we actually learn to build or nurture the responses that we have, we can then make decisions quicker. Thinking and reactions are like any other task.
Okay, okay. I think part of the problem here is the editing. We are jumping between things and thoughts, and maybe they were taking out long pauses or stumbles or something, which may or may not be a benefit depending, but this is all coming at me very rapid fire, and I'm trying to understand. Okay.
Thinking and reactions are like any other task and can be done by training our minds, by slowing down and making better decisions.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Pausing to think before you act. Not bad advice. Okay. I'm trying to follow. Yes. Okay.
Releasing the darkness from ourselves is another way to get our resilience and rise ourselves out of the flames.
What? Okay. Do tell. How do I release my darkness in order to rise above the flames?
Learning to heal myself from past experiences and emotional triggers has been life-altering. No, I'm not talking about looking into a pen and making you erase your memories.
Looking into a pen? What? Are we going to have another WTF award winner here? I mean, I wanted to make those things rare, you know, like it's not an everyday kind of thing, but we're well on our way. We are well on our way.
Sort of like in Men in Black.
That wasn't a pen. That was a neuralizer. I mean, I guess it was kind of stored like a pen. Okay.
I seek resources when I find myself in the ashes.
What?
Finding the right resources for each one of us is so important.
Yeah.
Meeting one person in your path can change your life.
I
walked into a therapist's office.
Yeah.
And therapist had offered.
Just the jump cuts on this. And I'm more intrigued to see like an uncut version of this, because like what is going on in between these spaces? He's talking about like the space between the trigger and the reaction. What's going on between cut 1 and cut 2? Wow.
Can change your life. I walked into a therapist's office and therapist had offered this technique that he does on removing traumas. Reactions to events originally sounded like a lot of therapy to me, and to do it quickly was plain impossible.
Well, therapy isn't about speed, depending. Wait. Okay, my pause game is on point because it just changed to this panel. For those of you listening at home, we now have a 3-part image on the screen. Imagine, if you will, you know those little diagrams on the little pamphlet in the backseat of airplane seats that show you how to get to the exit and that kind of thing? It looks kind of like that, except it shows an individual and is instructing you on how to move your hands. And it's split up into 3 panels. The first panel is titled Face Self-Havening. And it seems to show that you're supposed to put your head in your hands and move your hands back and forth from your ears back to your cheeks, or just cradle your face. The second panel is called Arm Self-Havening, where you're hugging yourself with your hands on each opposite, sort of upper arm. And then I guess rubbing your hands up and down your arms like you're warming yourself up, I guess. And the last one says Palm Self-Havening, where you just put your hands together and rub them around against the other. Okay. These
techniques deal with the removing of negative triggers that are stored in the amygdala.
So wait, so if I'm experiencing a trigger, I'm to immediately wrap my face in my hands, hug myself, and then rub my hands together. And this will, mitigate the trigger and allow me to make a more rational response?
Through the use of rubbing your hands, arms, or face. Yes, I just did say that if you touch yourself in a special way, you can heal yourself.
When I get that feeling, self-havening fees. Good God, are you? Okay, well, I don't want anybody else. When I have a trigger, I touch myself. Okay. Was that laughter canned? Was that canned laughter? It sounded like it. Oh my God.
Yes, I just did say that if you touch yourself in a special way, you can heal yourself. This technique I used was simple in its use, but complex in what it could do for you. It helped me create a different way of thinking, working on both the negative experience as well as in reinforcing future positive experiences.
By rubbing yourself? How?
The touching I spoke about was used to create delta waves, which everybody creates at night. Anyway, it's part of your brain.
It's part of your brain. Delta waves. It's just part of your brain. Oh, it's a part of my brain. Thanks, Professor.
The process is called depotentiation. And I actually became one of the first 100 people in the world to be certified practitioner of this method.
Okay, well, I'm going to circle new buzzword buzz phrase because I've never heard that before. And if he's only one of 100 people in the world to be certified as this practitioner of something, then sure. Depopulation, whatever it was. I'm going to back up a little bit. Let's get that one more time just for education's sake.
Was used to create delta waves.
Yes.
Which everybody creates at night. Anyway, it's part of your brain.
Yeah.
The process is called depotentiation.
Depotentiation. Depotentiation. What is the process? Rubbing yourself? Is that what it is? Rubbing yourself is depotentiation? Okay. Depotentiation.
And I actually became one of the first 100 people in the world to be certified practitioner of this method.
You're a certified practitioner of having someone rub themselves to avoid the trauma of triggers. I can only imagine what your office visits are like.
Teaching us, our internal observer, how to have better reactions to outside influences will change your world. Using your own two hands, you could pick yourself up out of the ashes and help and heal yourself.
Using my own two hands to rub my face, my arms, and my palms, I will pick myself up out of the ashes. I can see why TED put the little disclaimer on this video, but I still have to ask the question, why then did they post this video? I'm not going to complain because it's entertaining as hell, but okay.
Now let me remind you.
Yes.
Any technique or resource that you use is great if you know it, but you need to process it. And
I need to process rubbing myself? Well, I'll make an effort.
But you need to process it.
Yes.
And you need to do it. It can't just be that you know it and have the knowledge for
it. Well, yes. I mean, having the knowledge of how a guitar is played is different than actually playing the guitar. Yeah, exactly how much knowledge does it take to rub yourself again?
Does anyone have a gym membership that they don't use?
I'm sure someone does. I don't, but I'm sure someone does. Okay.
You don't get great results until you do it.
Yeah.
When we install our own personal reset button,
what?
We are practicing it and then using it because that's where the trick is.
What personal reset button? What? Mr. Tickletrunk, to be fair, those moves are calming and distracting. The actual clinical method to deal with triggers are thought-willing exposure over time. Like I say, I'm not saying that there isn't okay. There is something to be said for self-care, okay? And if you are in a stressful situation, yes, I could see that being something that could distract you, could calm you down, could give you a moment, sort of a count to 10 moment for not necessarily anger, but for stress. Okay. Trying to be fair. However, his presentation is something else. I thank you again, Mr. Tickletrunk, as well as therapy discussion sessions. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that can help with someone who's dealing with depression or stress or life obstacles and so on, or overcoming such things. It's just that everything he said so far is so disconnected and abstract and disjointed from one another. Sure, there are some kernels of truth in there as we go, but I'm not sure where we are for having made the trip yet. Maybe the next minutes will tell us. Because
that's where the trick is to using the knowledge that we have.
Yes.
When I use these resources and techniques, I was surprised to see the different lifestyle changes I was able to have.
Okay.
There's a line in Dante's Inferno. In the middle of the journey of my life, I found myself in a dark wood, for I had lost the right path.
I think that's right at the beginning of the first canto, isn't it? But yes, okay. How? I mean, okay. As I've said in countless TEDx's before, give us an active example. Okay, if you're using yourself as the example, okay, and maybe he will in the next minute, that'd be great. Tell us of a place mentally or whatever that you were at emotionally because of your divorce or something else, and then tell us how rubbing yourself or whatever else brought you out of it. Whether we agree with it or not, whether we can empathize or not, whatever, just give us something solid. Things been very ethereal so far.
This happened to me as well.
Okay.
I knew a lot of the techniques to do.
Yes.
But I didn't use them.
Okay.
And as the quote goes, eventually I would find the right path, but in the most unlikely place.
What?
For me, that unlikely place was I had created a personal plan.
Okay.
This consisted of writing almost 50 letters to the people who meant the most to me, telling them about why I felt I needed to do this.
Do what?
I felt my sacrifice was for the greater good.
What? Did we miss part of the talk? His sacrifice? What sacrifice? Writing the letter? The editing on this makes me think we are missing some vital pieces of the narrative, as circuitous as the narrative has been.
The floor of my life was being pulled out from under me, under my feet, and into the fires I went. I never experienced before.
Why? The divorce?
Conflicting thoughts. I love these people so much.
Yeah.
That I thought they were better off without me.
Whoa, wait. Is this a suicide story? Did I miss something? Dr. Q says leaves out vital context. Well, here's the problem. I don't know if he has, because the editing tells me that we've jumped over stuff and now we're into a suicide story. I think. What? And it happened again. What is going on with this thing? I don't think I've ever seen a TED or TEDx talk so edited and jump cutting from thing to thing. Okay, if I circle leaves out vital context, I am marking it up to the person editing this thing, not necessarily the speaker, because I can't tell if somewhere in here he's given us context, but it was just removed. So, okay. In terms of the presentation, yes, vital context has been left out. We are lost. I am lost, and I know people in the chat are lost. So I'm circling leaves out vital context, but I want to make it clear, if it matters, I'm marking that up to whoever edited this. I'm not necessarily putting that on the speaker. So I'm going to look at this presentation as a presentation in whole, if you get me. What the heck? Okay, so better off without you.
And there were a few times during the execution of this plan, I fell asleep, feeling that these were going to be my last breaths.
Okay.
The secret many of us don't talk about is mental health. And in that is that some people experience something that they really stressed to the point of breaking.
Yeah, it's true. I have experienced that myself. Something small that is ridiculous or in any other rational sense would be something you just move on with your day, and it turns into some big catastrophe emotionally, mentally, etc. I dealt with anxiety disorder for many, 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 many years, and sometimes I still do, but thankfully I found some medication that helps with that. But regardless, I get that. Yes, I think a lot of people who even don't have anxiety disorder get that too. Okay. I hope the presentation, I'm not going to blame the presentation. I hope the presentation allows us to find some context for what he's talking about. So was he having suicidal ideation here? Was he so stressed out that he thought he was going to have a heart attack or something? I mean, what is going on?
We don't talk about our mental health.
Yeah, well,
because it scares us.
Well, okay.
And
I think, okay, well, I'm speaking for myself, but I guess my internal reflex about talking about my mental health, the notion I always had was, why would anybody want to hear about me whining about whatever? Because my rational brain understood that 9 times out of 10, whatever I was freaking out over wasn't actually worth freaking out over. Even though I couldn't control how much I was freaking out over it, the rational part of me knew that if I were to describe this to another person, a normal person, quote unquote, I would sound ridiculous, even though I couldn't help how I was reacting. That's usually what prevents me, or has prevented me, from talking about my mental health in the past. So, yeah, and I guess that is a kind of fear. Okay, all right, I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I'm really trying here.
And statistics say that 89% of suicide attempts are unsuccessful, which means that there are many people who need to find a way for resilience and would rebuild once again. I'm a phoenix, and I am succeeding because I eventually chose to rise from my ashes and fly once again.
Okay, now, whatever else, even though I don't understand everything, I just want to say, I am glad that our speaker, whatever point at which he was in life or he was getting ready to kill himself, didn't do so and found a way out. Even if I don't understand it, even if it involves being a certified practitioner of telling people to rub themselves. I'm sorry. Regardless, though, seriously, as much as I can be after saying that, I am glad he found his way out of his despair. However he did it, for the sake of not being dead. All right.
We should not be embarrassed by our failures, but we should not be embarrassed by our failures, but be celebrated for the courage to fight through the challenges.
I'll agree with that in spirit, yes.
It is scary, but my definition of fear?
Yes.
Face everything and rise.
Ooh, well, if I hadn't already circled attempt to coin new buzzword buzz phrase, face everything and rise. Wow. It's not bad, actually. If I had to think of an inspirational sort of thing, but unfortunately, I read the other day that acronyms are racist. So it kind of puts a dimmer on it a little bit.
We never know what the spark is that will come from to help us rise.
Yeah.
For me, it was along this journey, it was being confronted by somebody who I didn't have much contact with, but felt the need to tell me their opinion as well as others.
Okay.
As I would hear this verbal barrage, as was assaulted, I felt this person's anger.
What? Okay. I'm having a hard time, being irritated with the speaker, because from everything he's been telling us, his background, his demeanor, and everything else, I get that he is doing his best. I don't get a sense of someone who is despite how he's dressed, is trying to used car salesman sell me on something, that he's being as forthright and sincere as he can. He's obviously not a polished speaker, so to speak. all the same, he really needs to work on his delivery. Really, really, really needs to work on his delivery.
And possible hopes that I go back to that dark place and finish the job I first started.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing about this confrontation was that was the spark I needed.
Okay.
To lift myself up.
Okay.
And figure out the ways to rebuild and find the right resources to recalibrate and put myself back together.
Okay. Now, since I already circled leaves out vital context, that was not an edited piece. That whole thing went by and he didn't actually tell us what the person said, who the person was to him, what it was about. So, yeah. But since I already did circle leaves out vital context for this thing, I'm circling weightless example, because unless you tell us the circumstances, unless you tell us where you were before and where you were after and how it did what it did, it doesn't mean anything. It's just, so weightless example, circling that one. Oh, got to hit the right button.
I faced the challenges by using the resources and techniques that made Dave 2.0.
What?
We're all success stories because we choose to overcome them.
Are you Dave?
By living through the burning ashes, finding the ways to regrow with more strength. Part of the strength that we have is when we ground ourselves.
Okay. Talking in greeting card platitudes doesn't actually tell anybody anything. I feel like I'm more critiquing his performance now than anything else. But yeah, I mean, you can earn talking about an abstraction if you then go into the details behind it, or vice versa. You can't just keep telling us these abstractions and repeating them as if they mean anything. You have to, speaking of grounding, you have to ground your abstractions in actual examples. You know, okay.
Remember, the words earth and heart are the same letters.
Okay, I'm going to need to rub my face now. Oh, jeez.
Grounding ourselves by training our brain to see the love in everything allows your brain to build resiliency, to move beyond the past, able to be in the present and have a better future. For me, the truth led to healing and learning opportunities to rewrite my story. There is always an R in my heart. I rose. I learned ways to rebuild. I found ways to renew. And recharge. And reignite my fire. And found ways to be resilient. When we ground ourselves.
Okay.
When we ground ourselves in our hearts and train our brains, then our fires are always burning bright. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna backpedal slightly on something I said before. Given the fact that in the long segments of this talk that were not clumsily edited, our speaker didn't make much sense, and at least at one point he stopped to start over again with his line. I'm now more of the opinion that the portions we did not see were him stumbling over his presentation, and whoever edited this was just kind enough to take out the worst pauses or mistakes on his behalf. This is one of those things where I look at the guy like I don't see any sort of deception. Obviously, I don't see a lot of ego being put out there so much. I see someone who's obviously not very sure of himself, trying to build himself up, which I can appreciate, put himself on a stage, obviously not his most comfortable territory. Okay. So in that sense, credit where credit is due, but we're going to go over the bingo card regardless because we're still in a TEDx. Okay, marginalize marginalization. Oh, sorry, let me get the card up. That went by awfully quick because there wasn't a lot to, I don't know, analyze, you know, given the fact that it was all sort of all over the place. So here's the card as I have it right now. Oh boy. I need to, I need to zoom out a little bit so the whole card can be seen. Is that about good? Okay, that works. Okay, so marginalization. No. Collectivize his own demographic. I don't think so. I don't recall. I mean, again, everything was so abstract. Feminism, no. Microaggressions, unconscious bias, no. Anecdote that probably never happened. He didn't give enough information for me to say one way or the other that an anecdote, like his divorce happening, I can believe that happened. Him going to a thing where Madeleine Albright was at, sure. He didn't give, and of course, him confronting or being confronted by somebody he knew that was harsh to him, and then something that was a change point. He didn't give enough information for me to weigh the validity of any of it, so I can't circle that one. Contradicts own point or argument. It would require me to understand his point or argument. I mean, I guess his point was, look at me, I was in a terrible place. If I can make it out of it back to a productive state of mind, so can you. I guess I don't think he contradicted himself. If you guys have arguments for squares to be circled, just hold on to them for a second. I'm going to go through the card. Diversity and inclusion. No, you never used that. Plays victim. Do I think this guy was playing? No, he wasn't playing. I think he's a victim of himself. I don't think he was making up a victim story or narrative for himself. I think this was as good as he could do to tell people how he had helped himself out of the pit. So, this is the tough one. Mind reading assumes motives. Not really. Benevolent condescension. No. Patriarchy, no. Wage gap, no. Systemic institutional, not. Did he talk about society or anything? I'm struggling now, guys. I'm sorry. Privilege, no. Self-vilification or wretchedness. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Video name suggestion, Lub Dub and Rub Yourself. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Yeah, the touching oneself thing. That was his best part. The best part of his whole talk was that joke. That self-awareness, that joke was the best part. Okay, but self-vilification or wretchedness. I'm going to circle that one. Not because I understand what he is and is attempting to do for himself and conceivably for others, but he did talk a lot about himself being down in the pits and everything else. He didn't make himself a villain. I just want to make that clear. He was not vilifying himself, but he was presenting himself as, I was in a terrible place and I brought myself up. So just on the basis of the definitions, circling that one. Let me update the card there for that. Okay. Equity, no. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. I mean, the etc. part. There were so many non sequiturs in here. Yeah, on aggregate, if not something specific, and I'm sure there are specific examples that have just washed over my brain at this point. Oh yeah, the delta waves. There you go, delta waves. What did that have to do with anything? There's one example. Delta waves. They're part of your brain. Like, okay. And white supremacy. No, there was no white supremacy. Okay, so that's the best I could do in a first pass. So if you guys have any arguments for other squares, let me know. Dr. Keefe says, Scribelight, that title suggestion came from me. Well, I appreciate the idea. I still like my thumbnail. And I'm trying to keep the title of the stream itself to match the actual title of the TEDx, so that if somebody actually searches for that TEDx, maybe mine will come up as a rebuttal. I don't know. Let's see. X439 contradicts own point. He at one point stated, quote, everyone should find their own way, and then immediately after said, here's how we do it. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, he wasn't very clear that, like, this is what worked for me. And then he talks about, like, I'm a practitioner of this method. And he talked about having the resources, which he never really got. Okay, you know what? Given the nature of this talk and given the not very high likelihood that we'll get a bingo out of this, I'll be a little loosey-goosey on that one. All right, I'll take that one. Check your logic. Steve Harvey once wore a pink suit and a mint green shirt and tie on Family Feud, basically the reverse of what the speaker was wearing, just without the white. I tell you what, that was some suit. That must be his best suit. If he put his best foot forward in his teal sneakers. Okay. Let's see. Mike Savage says, the card as it stands is about as many circles as it gets, but my brain is still going WTF. Yeah. Oh, Lissa Leo, I see you in the chat. Okay, I just want to say something real quick. And I mentioned this on Twitter the other day. It is often the case, for whatever reason, that I'll get notified of a comment on one of my videos, and I'll click on the comment because you can only see a little stub of the text on it, and the comment won't be there. It won't be there, and it won't be in like the held for review tab of my control panel because of like language or something. It's just gone. So Lissa Leo specifically, because this is what set it off the other day. You put a comment on one of my videos, and I clicked on it to go read it, and it wasn't there. So I'm just curious. Have you, for whatever reason, elected to delete any of your own comments from my videos in the last several days? Because if not, I can't think of why your comment did not make it to the page. So I can't, and usually I can't tell because I can't contact the person usually to ask, did you delete your own comment? Because it sure looks like YouTube just zapped it for no reason. So and again, I can't even remember what the comment was per se at this point, but if you actually deleted your own comment, just tell me, and that'll set me a little bit at ease that I'm not having comments taken away from my review without my knowledge. And thank you, Lissa Leo. This was so all over the place, it was hard to follow. Yeah, no, I'm going to address that in a moment, because even if this wasn't the end-all be-all like so many others, I cannot avoid the fact that it qualifies. Just on the basis of its totality, this qualifies. Because there's really nowhere else to go with it. I'm still waiting to see if Lissa will tell me, because I'm curious about that. Let's see, Mr. Chico Trunk. I've had comments that were removed without notice of myself or the channel holder. Yeah, so I'm always wondering, like, oh, was it the only other thing they ever told me was they'll be deleted if they somehow violate the terms of whatever. And I'm like, most of my audience members don't say, like, quote unquote horrible things, or I don't even know what that qualifies, but probably problem words. Could be, I suppose. But again, I'm just curious, was it an elected deletion, or was it something that YouTube chose to do and I just have no power of it? Either way, just as a note, I don't delete comments from my videos unless they're obviously bots that are posting like links to sites or other things, that kind of thing, or some kind of spam, which has happened rarely. So if you put a comment on one of my videos and then you don't see it again, just rest assured, short of it being something ridiculous, nothing on my part. I didn't do it. But I did do this because I cannot honestly continue after this presentation the way it went without doing so.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
This is another entry into the WTF Hall of Fame, just on the very basis of what it was and how it was put together. The suit, the editing, the message, such as it was, the construction of the presentation, plus the fact that at its base, it's something that TED itself said does not conform to their guidelines, and yet they still posted it. So it might not be the most like hair pulling out, infuriating chromosome lady level of WTF. I don't have a gradation for these things, but just on the basis of what it is certainly a WTF. So, that being the case, there's really nowhere else to go with this one. I didn't know where it was going to go. I had no idea where we would arrive after the end of it, but here we are. So, that being the case, everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this, for whatever it was. Maybe something was gleaned. Maybe something wasn't. Listen, Leo, sorry, Scribe, I did sometimes second guess my comments. Okay. I just want to make it clear, because when I see that, I get worried. Like, has YouTube deleted it or something? So if you second guess and you take your comment away, that's perfectly fine. I just want to make sure that everybody understands I don't zap comments from my videos unless you're obviously a bot posting a sex site or something. I'll make that clear. So, okay, if you took it off yourself, perfectly fine. Won't dwell on it. Just want to make sure. Either way, as I was saying, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you learned something. Maybe. Or maybe gave you reason to think about something, like rubbing yourself. But I'll leave that to you. However, if you'd like to hear more from me or Satsu 2 Cents or the renting all three of us tonight on Satsu 2 Cents' channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for the Lords of the Night, where we'll talk about the news of the day, news stories you submit, what we've been up to on the internet, and then your questions and comments. Thank you again, Lissa Leo. I did scribe. Sorry, sometimes I second guess my comment because I feel they are dumb. Okay, well, thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate it so much. And that's perfectly fine. I'm not criticizing you for it. I just wanted to make sure that if you posted a comment and then your comment disappeared, I just want to make sure you know it wasn't me. But if you took it off, perfectly fine. And if you think your comment's dumb, well, I guess that's up to you. I won't judge you. You know, if you got something you want to say, go ahead and say it. You know, it's perfectly fine. I don't block any words or anything on here or ban anybody or anything else unless it's a spam bot or something. So either way, that's beside the point. Thank you so much, Lissa. But everyone, I hope even after all of this, you are safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And if you think part of getting well soon is to rub yourself in your private moments, then by all means, have at it. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.